Many will have been wondering why these issues remain on the table. The Chief Minister told GBC the question of Frontex assisting Spanish police for entry into Schengen for an initial period of 4 years was an issue already resolved in the New Year's Eve Framework Agreement. This also included the fact that Gibraltar would decide who enters Gibraltar. Fabian Picardo adds he's not surprised that attempts are being made to re-litigate on key issues at this late stage. He warns against panicking towards the end of the process.
What matters is what is going to be in the documents and what we are going to agree or what we are not going to be able to agree. I can give the people of Gibraltar a categorical assurance. I know the politics of Gibraltar just like you and every other Gibraltarian. Gibraltarians are experts in the politics of Gibraltar. We all know the things that were wrong with the 1987 airport agreement, and I know all the things I didn't like about the 2006 Cordoba arrangements in relation to the airport. We're not going to be doing anything which offends any of the sensitivities that we have in respect of those two previous attempts to deal with issues relating to the airport. We've got a very clear line on what we think is acceptable and what is not acceptable. We're not going to cross those lines. But those matter when you look at the documents, not when you look at interviews in the run-up to the last moment in the negotiation. Now is when we have to ensure that we work calmly to achieve the outcome that the people of Gibraltar want us to achieve, and we don't allow us to be taken over the line to agree something which is not what the people of Gibraltar would want to agree.
Concerning that we're running out of time, I know that the deadline of the 31st hasn't actually been confirmed, but there may only be room for 1 or 2 negotiating rounds before then.
There's no deadline in the context of this negotiation. The deadline in the Brexit negotiations was set out in law. The arrangements that we have now are, unfortunately, informal, so they don't have the force of law. But additionally, the benefit of that is that there isn't a legal cliff edge when those arrangements have to fall away. The Spanish Foreign Minister has been quoted as saying these things can't go on indefinitely. In that respect, he's expressing the views of all of us. We would all like to finish this negotiation as soon as possible. The end of the year is a moment which is relevant in all our lives, and in particular in our professional and political lives. We would like to get it done by the end of the year. If we're very close, of course we'll continue negotiating, I have no doubt about that. Look, Gibraltar in 2013-14 was 25% of the GDP of the Campo. That's with Senor Margallo in place. Now we're probably more of the GDP of the Campo. We probably are more than a quarter of the GDP of the Campo. The GDP of Gibraltar is greatly affected by the number of people who come to work in Gibraltar from Spain. I'm not going to get up off the table on the 31st of December or on the 1st of January. I'm going to keep trying to achieve this, but I would like to achieve it by the 31st of December if I can, and I won't be found wanting in trying to do so. If somebody is simply going to get up off the table because it's not in their political interest to continue, then they should explain to the Campo that their GDP is going to go immediately into recession, and I will have to explain to the people of Gibraltar that we are likely to be facing the same outcome because the negotiation has been suspended for political reasons or whatever. I can only speak for the government of Gibraltar. I'm committed to this process and to making it work without any of our red lines having to be crossed or without anybody else having to cross any of their red lines and without making red lines cross. That's difficult. We are working very hard to do so. There are moments when it looks like we might be there. There are moments when it looks like we might not be able to get there, and we have to try harder. We'll keep trying harder. But I give an assurance to the people of Gibraltar that in doing so, our fundamentals will not be transgressed. I will not allow that. My negotiating team will not allow that. My government will not allow that. And if we are able to reach an agreement, it'll be one that is good for Gibraltar and the region around Gibraltar.
The Chief Minister believes negotiations have a better chance of succeeding if they're not carried out in the media. The negotiations are, he said, ridden with potential pitfalls, but that it's the government's job to navigate around them.